rolling it back, how did you get into game and how did you discover the Roosh forum?
Okay, well, that's a good question, by the way, and I have to think a bit about that. Game, I think game comes to you naturally. Okay, it's not something that you pick up off the street or you pick up from other guys. Game comes from you naturally, and I think that how you are brought up, your environment, the environment that you are brought up in, I think that shapes you as a person.
Right.
For the rest of your life, no matter what anyone says to you, your background, your environment shapes you as a person. Okay, and certainly from my own experience, I was called growing up in my household. Yeah, my grandparents. These were, on both sides of the family, they were rural, they were conservative, Catholic. It was patriarchal. I went to a Catholic school, Catholic state school, where most of my teachers were monks, Catholic monks. And these guys, they imbued in us the patriarchy, the male society. I mean, for example, quite a few of my teachers, the monks, few of them were either boxers or they had been in the army. So these were disciplinarians, these were old school guys, and they instilled in us kind of like, be a man, behave like a man, act like a man. In that, okay, if somebody was giving you some trouble in school, you were told, go off and fight your own battles. Don't be bullied. Be a man. Stand up for yourself. And I got this from my own father as well. Be a man. Be strong. Pull yourself together. My grandfather used to say the exact same thing to me. Pull yourself together. Don't be some kind of a girl. Act like a man. Be a man. And this kind of shaped me as the person that I was. When did I discover game? Well,
You always had it.
I always had it with me. I just had it. I always just had it with me. Game isn't something that you pick up on the go from guys like Roosh or from Tom Carrero or from these other guys. Okay, you can learn from them, but it's up to you how you can apply that.
Right.
And I think what shapes a person is the first 10, 15 years of their lives. Okay, if you had a good upbringing, you are set to go for the rest of your life. If you have a shitty upbringing, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Getting onto like more the aspects of gaming and so on, I think of this whole manosphere thing as I think it's a bit artificial in that. Okay, yeah, we're guys, okay, and we want to go out and we want to score and bang as many women as possible. But here's my point, right? I think this whole idea of manosphere and although it has its merits, definitely has its merits, you should be a man, but at the same time, if we're talking about if we want to meet women that are good, that are womanly, who have good values, and at the same time, I mean,
we have to have those as well.
We're expecting women to go around and behave like sluts and go and get laid and so on and so forth, and then at the same time, we're kind of expecting women to be homely, to be good housewives.
Right.
I mean, it does strike me as double standards. So this whole kind of gaming and manosphere thing. It does. Like, on the one hand, our value is measured by how many women we bang, but at the same time, we don't want sluts. We want women who are, who have good values. But the thing is, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
And another thing as well that I do find rather unsettling is in the manosphere, you have this hidden racism and hidden antisemitism, certainly on the alternative right.
Right.
I don't like that. I simply don't like that. I was brought up to judge people based on how they behaved themselves and how they behave towards other people. I mean, think about it. If you have self-respect, you are, to me, you are a good guy. If you have self-respect, if you respect other people, you are a good guy. I'm not in the business of going out and calling all Muslims terrorists.
Right.
I'm not like that at all. And I'll tell you why. Because being an Irish person, I grew up in the 1980s and the 1990s, you know, and we used to get quite a lot of hassle going abroad. Irish people were depicted as terrorists, and, you know, so we can empathize some way with Muslims, like the way they are treated, you know. And this whole thing about stereotyping whole people as being degenerates, I don't like it. I don't like antisemitism, you know, labeling Jews as degenerates. This is moving into fascism. And that's what I don't like about the so-called alternative right movement that a lot of the manosphere has picked up on. Because if you look at Roosh Forum, say from 4 or 5 years ago, it was a nice forum. You know, guys came together, you know, they discussed where to go, where to game. But now this whole manosphere thing, it's taken on a very dark element. And it's one thing that I don't like, you know. You know, okay, people are entitled to their own opinions, but you know, when you have a different opinion to a lot of the guys in the forum, I mean, you get called a social justice warrior, libtard, all this kind of crap. And that has driven a lot of people away from the forum.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I've been on debating, you know, different things and so on. Like, you know, I'm a leftist. I'm a socialist. That's my background. And, you know, I don't like this alternative right stuff that is going on. Now, if you want me to extrapolate further, you know, what's happening in America, yeah, you know, I don't like Hillary Clinton. I think Hillary Clinton is a bitch. She's a warmonger. She's an evil woman, vindictive evil woman. When it comes to Donald Trump, yeah, there are things that I totally agree with when it comes to Donald Trump. You know, for example, on foreign policy, economics, and so on. But some of the stuff that he has said about Muslims and immigrants been absolutely disgraceful. It has to be said. You know. But that's just my opinion on the whole how I discovered game, and I developed. You know, I discussed further about, you know, things that, into the manosphere and so on. But if you want to be a man, act like a man, behave like a man, but don't go around stereotyping people, calling Muslims this, women that. I mean, some of the articles on Return of Kings. I mean, it's slaps of hatred towards women. You know, love women. Women, they're your sisters. They're your mothers. They're our wives. They're our girlfriends and lovers. But don't fucking hate them.
Right.
If you have issues, go see a shrink or something. But women are women, guys. You know?
Right.
Don't hate them. Love them.
Right. I think there's always been that element, and I guess it's growing in the manosphere, where a lot of guys are stuck in that anger phase of the red pill, so to speak, where it's almost like by being an anti-social justice warrior, they think they're different. But the original point of the manosphere was like, it's all about accepting reality and then improving yourself and adapting to it.
Exactly.
Like it's you control what you can.
262, you nailed it. The manosphere is about self-improvement of men. It wasn't for men to turn into a bunch of male chauvinists, male feminists. It wasn't about that. It was about self-improvement. That is the manosphere. Behaving like a man, acting like a man, and being a man. Improving yourself, working on yourself, working on your game, working on your body. You know, making life better for you as a person. You know, dressing well, being proud of being a man. But you know, being proud of being a man should not necessitate that you go around hating other people because they look different to you, they act different to you, and they just are different to you.
Right.
That's what I don't like about the manosphere. This embracing of the alternative right. Some of the stuff I agree with, but other stuff is just, it's completely out there, and I want nothing to do with it.
Right. I mean,
I'm a man. We're all men.
Right.
But we shouldn't turn into, as Unbowed once said to me, a bunch of male feminists.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't. You don't want to be. It's not. It was never supposed to be. Yeah, male feminists. We weren't supposed to just like, be bitching about things and not doing anything about them. If you don't like a certain place, if you don't like a certain people, if you don't like certain women, just don't interact with them. Do move. You can't. There's only. You can't. You can't ask society to change for you if you aren't willing to change yourself. I mean, it literally is what Unbowed said. Again, don't be a male feminist.
Exactly. You can't ask society to change for you. I mean, well, you can change society, but it's only through self-improvement, through self-betterment. That's how you can change it. Mm-hmm. But expecting society to conform to your values simply is not going to happen, because you're going to come up against so many different factors. One of them obviously is, look guys, don't hate a person because they're Muslims, or because they're a woman, or because they're an immigrant,
Mm-hmm.
Don't go hating it. Just don't go hating at all.
It's also a very toxic mindset. Like as Mike Cernovich, I don't know if you read him, or Mike CF, he was on the forum. He's like, it's like he's written a great book, Gorilla Mindset. And it's like, that kind of mindset. It's the same mindset as a male feminist. It's like you just go around blaming other people for your problems, and so if you're always the victim, you never, by default, then that means you can't improve yourself, and therefore it's like a spiral. It's a death spiral in a sense.
It's a spiral. You have this kind of victim mentality, and this is the kind of mentality that some African Americans would have.
Mm-hmm.
The world owes us, and so on and so forth. Many Zionist Jews, they have this kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. The world owes us. You criticize Israel, you're anti-Semitic. I'm sorry, the world has moved on.
Right.
The world owes you fuck all.
Right.
Just pull yourself together and get out there.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as, okay, take from my own people, Irish people, we were oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
We had awful things committed against us by Great Britain, but we don't have this kind of victim mentality. It's slowly and surely, it's disappearing, thank God. My mentality is, so what, it happened in the past, yes, never forget it, but
mm-hmm.
it's time to move on, simple as that.
Right, I could say the same thing as, a Southeast Asian, you could say the same thing about, my people were colonized, blah, 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 you owe me stuff, but it's like, what? No, that was somebody, my grandparents and somebody else's grandparents, and those people are long dead, so it's like, let's move forward, and more importantly, like, you can't really do anything about the past anyway, you gotta look forward into the future, and those are the things you can do something about. But I guess, let's, rolling into a little bit, a segueing here, like, that's the same culture in Belarus, right? Like, it's more of and I think generally in Eastern Europe, it's more of there's not a lot of give into this victim mentality, as I understand it. There's a lot more of this, like, no, you're kind of on your own, like, you got to pull yourself together. Is that the case in Belarus and Minsk?
Yeah, it is. People here don't dwell on the past. Well, you certainly have an older generation who do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the mentality here, and also in Russia as well, is that people live for the moment. Don't look back in the past. People here live for the moment.
Mm.
You got to move on with it. Live for the moment. And I like that. We can all be nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
We can all look back with rose-tinted glasses back, say, 10, 20 years ago. Or our parents, they have been guilty of that. My parents have been guilty of that, looking back, further back in time, back to the 1950s and 60s as some kind of perceived golden age. But as Deb Auchery once said to me, he said, the good old days are not in the 1990s or 1980s or 1970s. The good old days are now. And it's
mm-hmm.
how you live it. That's
Yeah,
That's the good old days. And he is 100% correct.
Yeah, he's right about that. I mean, it's not, unless you invent a time machine, there's no point really saying like, oh man. I mean, yeah, it was great. You could certainly make the argument that things were great in the 1950s, but unless you have a time machine, you're not going back there anyway. So, why are you talking?
I mean, I snigger to myself when I see a lot of the guys talking about American women. They perceive, the 1950s was a golden period. You often when you read the forum, you read posts like this. The 1950s is perceived as some kind of a golden period, but that's just looking back at a time period that you never experienced and which you never existed in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Ligurian, he also mentions this as well in his posts. I mean, 19th century writers used to look back at the Grand Tours in the 18th century and imagine that, they ruined Europe, and the guys in the Grand Tour went on these Grand Tours in the 18th century Europe. They used to look back to the 17th, 16th century, and there have been multiple cases of nostalgia.
Right.
But that's what it is. Nostalgia should be just left there.
Mm-hmm.
Left in the past and leave it be in the past.
Right.
We now must live for the present. The good old days were not in 1998. If you read some of Greek Kamaki's old posts, good old days were not in 1991, 1992. The good old days were not back in 1975 or back in 1955. The good old days are now.
Right.
They are here.
Have you been to any other continents, like say South America or Southeast Asia, Africa, the Middle East?
I've been to Egypt twice. Yeah, been to Egypt twice, but only as a tourist. Only the tourist resorts.
Okay.
And I have to say, culturally wise, I felt very much out of place. Even when I met Egyptian Christians, Egyptian Muslims, Egyptian Jews, it's totally different culture to us, different mentality. But one thing I will say about coming across Muslims and Christians and Jews in the Middle East, they're very genuine people. They share a lot. They share a lot of what we have, but it is alien. And when I went to North Africa, I did feel very, very much out of place. Even my appearance as well,
Right.
European. You felt like a giraffe in Antarctica, basically. It is different. It is a lot different there in the Middle East. But I enjoyed my experience there, it has to be said. But Europe is, for me, I'm European, and I want to stay here. I want to stay in Europe, and this is where I feel more comfortable in.
Right.
But I've never been to Southeast Asia. I've no real desire to visit Asia. Not at this stage in my life. Maybe later when I'm in my 50s and 60s, whatever. I would travel there just to check it out. I've never been to South America, even though I've come in contact with people from Latin America. I've dated girls from Mexico and Brazil. And they're kind of like very similar to the Southern Europeans, Greeks and Italians and Spanish and so on. But no, I haven't. I've never been to the Americas or Southeast Asia. However, I've been to the Middle East and North Africa. So.
And you say you also kind of just mentioned there you haven't been to North America too, right?
Never.
Never
been there. Never. No. I mean, I have relatives in the United States. But I've never been there. I've never been to any of the big cities. Now, if I was going to the United States, I'd like to go to New York or along the West Coast. See what it's like. But would I live there? No, I wouldn't live there.
Right. At least not without seeing it at first.
I just see it. America is a country I'd like to see as a tourist, but Would I live there? Perhaps not. No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't live there.
Let's see. All right, let's see. We're coming up on about a minute and 45 here. I wanted to leave some time. I guess, did you have any questions for me, or?
No, I have I don't have any questions for you, 262. But I just want to say that it's been great talking to you for the last an hour and 3/4, and just want to say you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. I must get a chance to listen to some of your podcasts. This is a good thing as well, just to kind of like put the message out there that, about self-improvement of men doesn't mean you have to hate other people.
Right.
And also as well that we have a lot of things in common, our desire to travel, to live abroad, and to experience other cultures.
Definitely, yeah. And I remember one of the reasons I put together this podcast, and Nick on one of my podcasts put it pretty well. Like when you're doing this sort of thing, when you're doing what we're doing with living abroad, and you're a Westerner in a different country, it can sometimes get it can sometimes feel like you're an island in an ocean, so to speak. And so even though you can build a social circle and you can have local friends, you'll still be the one odd guy out. And so certainly doing things like this, like putting together the podcast, and certainly meeting other guys when they pass through, like, the Revo crew in Kiev. That's definitely something that I would, again, I say this on every single podcast, it's something that I would definitely recommend guys do is do that, meet other guys when you're out abroad.
Exactly. My message to guys stuck at home, procrastinating, or being an office monkey in some dead-end 9-to-5 office job. Guys, there's more to life than that. Get out and see the world. The world is still a big place, and only by traveling, that you will enrich your mind, that you will become educated. That's all I'll say.
Gotcha.
Leave it at that.
Yeah, that's a good place. I think that's a great place to end, and we will end it there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Traktor. And guys, if you like this podcast, hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Bye-bye. Take care.